please present us how you think that data privacy is given in the theme in the terms of smart cities?
Data privacy is a big issue. We all know with cloud computing, and we all have our smart devices, and we share a lot of information, particularly in social networks and so on and so forth. And as far as I can see, this is going to increase. So you have to strike a balance between data privacy and how much you want to share, right? And that's really up to the individual. The individual makes that particular decision themselves. For example, my hobby outside of work is genomes, or testing with DNA, and this is very private information. But a lot of people, we do it for ancestry and so on and so forth, but we share this information because by sharing the information, you also get innovation. So you have to strike this balance between how much information you want to share and how much you want to keep private. But I think the role of government is to lay down guidelines about how that should be achieved.
Technologically, how can you offer to people, to users, to decide whether they would like to share this information or not?
Well, everyone uses, well, not everyone, but a lot of people use Facebook, for instance. And they are faced with this question every single day. Do you post that photo? Do you make that comment? Do you share it with your friends, with your family, with the public, and so on and so forth? So I think the technology is there to do it, right? And again, it's up to people and how much they want to do.
But it's a totally passive form of acceptance of sharing things. Yeah. So how can you offer them another way? Because you don't have a paper or something which represents that they would like to share this information to the public.
Right. I'm not sure I quite understood the question. Could you give me an example?
Yeah, if you take that, for example, on Facebook, that I would like to share this and this. That's just this information, but you don't have the service, for example, that these people would like to share.
Oh, right. Yeah. I think anyone who is developing apps, for instance, and if they want to get a strategic advantage, they will give people the ability to be totally incognito, right? To switch off their sharing. I think most of the cloud providers provide that anyway, although it's not obvious because they really want people to share. They want to know about what people are doing. They want to use it for advertising and so on and so forth, which is an issue. But I think it should be made easy for people to opt out of sharing. And maybe if the vendors don't make that easy enough, well then maybe it's a question of regulating it and saying that by default people don't share and they have to opt in as opposed to opting out.
Right. Another issue, what do you think about how can you disseminate the idea of smart cities to the large public, for example to students, to young?
Yeah, well, one of the ways is I think it will come as a mixture of market trends. Right? Everyone knew when the iPhone came out, it was an absolute revolution and it changes people's way of behaving. Everyone's looking at their smart device now. And as we get new technologies coming out, for instance, eyewear, glasses, smart glasses or Google glasses, this will make it very obvious to people what the applications are. One area I think is going to go through a big change soon would be healthcare, right? You probably know about the Nike band, right, which is used for people to track their jogging and so on and so forth. But in the not too distant future, you will have these bands or these wrist devices measuring all your vital signs, whether your pulse or your blood pressure or your blood sugar levels and so on and so forth. So looking after your health. So that's a very concrete example. I don't think it'll be dictated by the government saying, from this year, we're going to have people looking after their health. No, it will come from products which will become available on the market, which will be really cool products. People will want to use them. Previously, they used them for just managing their exercise or jogging or so on and so forth. Tomorrow, it will be for managing their health.
What do you think about developing countries and difference between developing countries and developed countries? Whether there's a difference between the use of smart cities in these cases and instances?
Yeah, we have worked on a lot of smart city projects in Africa, for instance. I was recently at CBIT, and we had one of the leaders from Johannesburg, right? And they wanted to implement it. What we're seeing is they tend to implement it end-to-end, right? They will implement a cloud-based system, an end-to-end healthcare system, an end-to-end education system, an end-to-end smart grid system, or they will attempt to implement an end-to-end system. I think in Europe, because we have so many mature technologies, we have so many legacy systems in place, we cannot do that. It's like we have so many old buildings, we can't just implement a new city. It's impossible. So we have to do it piece by piece. Right?
All right. Thank you very much for your answers.
Thank you.